The night was cold and unforgiving when the spacecraft crashed into the dense forest outside Seattle. Two sisters, Hana and Yoon, lay motionless among twisted metal and sparking electronics. Their breathing was shallow, their bodies bruised and broken from a journey that had lasted months across endless star systems. Hana was the first to move. Her hand reached out, touching her younger sister's face. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead, mixing with the mud and broken leaves surrounding them. The forest was quiet, almost too quiet. Distant city lights flickered between the trees, a promise of civilization that seemed both close and impossibly far away. "Yoon," she whispered, her voice raspy and weak. "We have to move." The younger sister groaned, her eyes slowly opening. Their natural color shifted like liquid mercury, a remnant of their alien biology that would need to be carefully hidden. Around them, the spacecraft continued to smoke and spark, pieces of advanced technology scattered like broken dreams. They had no home now. Their planet was gone, consumed by a war that had raged for generations. Everything they knew, everyone they loved, existed now only in distant memories. Earth was their last hope, a random destination chosen in desperation during their escape. Hana helped Yoon stand. Her sister was smaller, more delicate, but possessed a remarkable resilience. They wore damaged clothing that might pass as human: dark jackets, worn jeans, boots caked with mud and spacecraft debris. Their skin, normally a soft, silvery tone, had already begun to adapt, taking on a more human-like appearance. "We need shelter," Hana said, scanning the surrounding forest. Her enhanced vision picked up details a human would miss: the movement of small animals, the intricate patterns of moisture on leaves, the distant hum of human infrastructure. They walked, for hours, moving carefully to avoid detection. The forest gave way to suburban edges, then to the outskirts of Seattle. Streetlights illuminated their path, casting long shadows that seemed to hide and reveal their alien nature simultaneously. Their first night was spent in an abandoned construction site. Hana found a half-finished building with enough cover to protect them from the cold and potential discovery. Yoon pulled out a small device, barely the size of a human smartphone, which projected a holographic map of their surroundings. "We have limited resources," Yoon said, her English careful and precise. "Our translation modules are functioning, but we'll need to learn more to blend in." Hana nodded. They had trained for this. Survival scenarios that seemed theoretical until now became their immediate reality. Their civilization had fallen, but they would not fall with it. Adaptation was their strongest weapon. As dawn broke, they watched the first human workers arrive at the construction site. Men in hard hats carrying thermoses of coffee, speaking in loud voices about weekend plans and job schedules. To Hana and Yoon, they were both fascinating and terrifying, so different from the structured, silent society they had known. "We need clothes," Hana said, "and money, and a way to create identities." Yoon pulled out another small device, her fingers moving with incredible speed. "I can generate digital profiles, but we'll need more than just digital existence. We need to be real." Their conversation was a mixture of their native language, a complex series of clicks and harmonic tones, and careful English. They had studied human communication for years, but experiencing it was entirely different. A homeless man walked past their hiding spot. He didn't see them, but they observed him carefully. His worn clothing, his careful movements, the way he seemed invisible to the busy world around him. In that moment, Hana and Yoon understood something fundamental about human survival. Sometimes being unseen was the greatest protection. As the morning progressed, their plan began to take shape. They would become invisible. They would learn. They would survive. No matter the cost, their journey on Earth had just begun. The first week was the hardest. Hana and Yoon learned quickly that survival in human society was more complex than they had anticipated. Their alien adaptability became both their greatest strength and their most significant challenge. Hana found work at a small construction company owned by a middle-aged man named Robert. Her strength was remarkable, but she carefully controlled, her movements always holding back to appear normal. She carried heavy materials, cleaned job sites, and listened intently to her coworkers' conversations. Language was a puzzle she was determined to solve. Yoon discovered a small electronics repair shop tucked away in a quiet Seattle neighborhood. The owner, an older man named Mr. Kim, seemed to care more about fixing things than asking too many questions. She learned to repair smartphones, computers, and various electronic devices. Her natural ability to understand complex systems gave her an unexpected advantage. They lived in a tiny basement apartment in a run-down building near the industrial district. Rent was cheap, and the landlord asked few questions. Their living space was sparse: a mattress on the floor, a small table, and a collection of tools and devices they had managed to salvage or repair. Money was always a concern. They developed a system of mutual support. Hana's construction work provided steady income, while Yoon's repair skills brought in additional cash through side jobs. They saved every penny, always aware that discovery could mean everything would be lost. Their nights were spent learning. They watched human television, studied online resources, and practiced social interactions. They discovered humor through comedy shows, learned about human relationships through dramas, and understood social norms through careful observation. One evening, while Yoon was repairing an old laptop, she made a mistake that could have exposed them. The device's internal components began to glow with an unusual blue light, a remnant of her alien technology. Mr. Kim was nearby, sorting through a box of old circuit boards. "What's that?" he asked, looking at the strange glow. Yoon's mind raced. In a split second, she pulled out a small LED light from her toolkit and quickly replaced the glow with a more mundane blue light. "Just a special LED," she said, her heart racing. Mr. Kim nodded, seemingly uninterested. But the moment reminded Hana and Yoon of their constant risk. One small mistake could expose everything. Their communication was a careful dance. In public, they spoke perfect English. In private, they used their native language, a complex system of tones and subtle body movements that no human could understand. They shared everything: fears, hopes, memories of their lost world. Food was another challenge. Human cuisine was strange and complex. They learned to eat what others ate, carefully observing how to use utensils, what combinations of food were normal, how to order in restaurants without drawing attention. Hana discovered coffee. It became her addiction, a bitter, warm liquid that seemed to help her blend in with human work culture. Yoon preferred tea, finding it more subtle and complex. They were careful about physical contact. Their skin, though now appearing human, could still react differently to touch. They avoided handshakes when possible, created excuses for physical distance. Their greatest weapon was observation. They watched how humans moved, how they talked, how they solved problems. Every interaction was a learning opportunity. Every conversation a chance to understand more about their new home. At night, they would compare notes. "Did you see how the construction workers joke?" Hana would ask. "I'm learning to understand their humor." Owen would respond with her own observations about human technology, about the small innovations she discovered in the repair shop. They were becoming human. Not entirely, but enough to survive. Enough to hope. Their original mission, survival, was slowly transforming. They were no longer just surviving. They were beginning to live. As weeks turned into months, Hana and Yoon realized something profound. Earth was becoming more than just a place of refuge. It was becoming home. Michael Rodriguez studied the digital trails carefully. Something about two recent immigrants, Hana and Yoon, didn't make sense. Their digital footprints were too clean, too perfect. No social media history before 2 years ago. Bank accounts that seemed to appear from nowhere. Work records that looked manufactured. At the Government Technology Tracking Center, he pinned photographs of the sisters on his investigation board. Hana, working construction. Yoon, repairing electronics. Normal jobs, normal lives. But something felt wrong. David Park, a researcher in the same facility, noticed Rodriguez's growing obsession. "What's so special about these two?" he asked one morning, watching Rodriguez arrange digital evidence. "Everything and nothing," Rodriguez muttered. His fingers moved across multiple computer screens, tracking financial transactions, work records, communication patterns. The sisters had been careful, almost too careful. Their digital existence was flawless, which made it suspicious. No childhood photos, no family connections, no immigration records that seemed completely genuine. Yoon's work at the repair shop became the first real breakthrough. Mr. Kim, her employer, brought an unusual device to the shop one afternoon. An old military communication system that seemed to have some strange internal modifications. When Yoon touched the device, something unexpected happened. The circuit board momentarily flickered with an unnatural blue light. Mr. Kim didn't notice, but the device's internal systems responded to her touch in a way no human technology could. Rodriguez's tracking system picked up the electronic anomaly. A tiny signal, barely registerable, but present. Something was different about this girl. Meanwhile, Hana continued her construction work, carefully maintaining her human appearance. Her strength was controlled, her movements calculated. She understood the risk of exposure better than anyone. David Park began to take interest. As a technology researcher with a background in advanced electronic systems, he recognized something unique in the digital traces Rodriguez was collecting. The sisters weren't just immigrants. They were something else entirely. Their apartment became a point of secret surveillance. Cameras positioned nearby. Electronic monitoring systems tracking their movements. Rodriguez was patient, methodical. One evening, Yoon made a critical mistake. While repairing a complex communication device, she accidentally activated a piece of technology from her original world. A holographic projection flickered momentarily. Star maps, complex mathematical equations, technological schematics that no human system could comprehend. The projection lasted less than 3 seconds, but it was enough. Rodriguez realized they weren't dealing with ordinary immigrants. These were something entirely different, possibly extraterrestrial, potentially dangerous. David Park saw the evidence differently. Where Rodriguez saw a threat, he saw an opportunity. Advanced technology, potential scientific breakthrough, a chance to understand something beyond human comprehension. Their approaches diverged. Rodriguez wanted containment. Park wanted communication. Hana and Yoon remained unaware of the growing investigation. They continued their careful life, working, saving, blending into human society. Every day was another chance to survive, to remain undetected. But the net was closing. Rodriguez's investigation was getting closer. Their carefully constructed human facade was beginning to show microscopic cracks. The sisters' nightly conversations became more cautious. They knew something was changing. The feeling of being watched grew stronger with each passing week. "Might need to move," Hana told Yoon one night. "Something feels different." Yoon nodded, her eyes scanning their small apartment. The devices they had carefully hidden, the technology they had brought from their destroyed world, everything that made them different from humans. Rodriguez continued his investigation. Park continued his research, and Hana and Yoon continued their careful dance of survival. The threat was real. Discovery was becoming inevitable. Their carefully constructed human life was about to change forever. David Park knew something was different the moment Yoon's hands touched the complex communication device. Her fingers moved with impossible precision, understanding circuits that would challenge most advanced engineers. The way she manipulated the internal components was both beautiful and terrifying. "Where did you learn this?" he asked, watching her work. Yoon froze. Her heart raced. One wrong word could expose everything. The repair shop was quiet. Mr. Kim had stepped out for lunch. Sunlight filtered through dusty windows, creating a soft atmosphere that felt strangely peaceful. David wasn't an ordinary researcher. His background in advanced technology systems gave him insights others might miss. He had spent years studying complex electronic interactions, but what he saw now was something entirely different. The circuit board Un was repairing began to glow with an unusual blue light. Not the standard LED indication, but something more profound. Something alien. "This technology," David whispered. "It's not from any manufacturer I know." Yoon's hand trembled. Years of careful preparation of hiding their true nature might collapse in this single moment. She looked up, her eyes shifting color momentarily, a quick mercury-like change that most would miss, but David saw it. "You're not from here, are you?" he asked softly. Hana would be furious if she knew about this conversation. Their primary rule had always been simple: never reveal their true nature. Stay hidden. Survive. Yoon made a split-second decision. Instead of denying, she decided to understand. "What do you know?" she countered. David pulled out a notebook. Years of research, strange electromagnetic signals, unexplained technological anomalies, fragments of evidence that suggested something beyond human understanding. "I've been tracking unusual technological signatures," he explained. "Your repair work, your touch, it's different." Mr. Kim returned, breaking the intense moment. Yoon quickly restored the device, making it look like a standard repair. But something had changed. David wasn't like Michael Rodriguez, who saw threats everywhere. He saw potential, discovery, a chance to understand something profound. That evening, David followed standard protocol. He reported nothing to his superiors. Instead, he began his own careful investigation. Hana discovered their connection 2 weeks later. She confronted Yoon in their small basement apartment, her anger burning bright. "You talked to a human researcher?" she demanded. "Do you understand the risk?" Un remained calm. "He's different. He wants to understand, not expose us." Their debate continued late into the night. Two sisters, refugees from a destroyed world, arguing about their survival strategy. David, meanwhile, began collecting evidence, not to expose them, but to protect them. He recognized they were something extraordinary, not a threat, but potentially humanity's most profound technological connection. Michael Rodriguez was closing in. His government tracking systems were becoming more sophisticated. The digital trail of the sisters was showing microscopic inconsistencies. The sisters knew time was running out. Their carefully constructed human life was becoming increasingly fragile. David became an unexpected ally. He began creating digital protective barriers, making their existence appear more natural. Subtle changes in records, minor adjustments that would confuse tracking systems. 1 month after their first encounter, David presented Yoon with a challenge, a complex technological problem that would take most engineers months to solve. She solved it in less than 3 hours. "Who are you really?" David asked, understanding now that they were far more than simple immigrants. Yoon looked at him, her eyes momentarily revealing something ancient, something beyond human comprehension. "We are survivors," she said simply. The connection was made, not through aggression or fear, but through mutual understanding. David would become their unexpected protector, their bridge between two worlds. Their survival had just taken an unexpected turn. The sky turned an unnatural shade of green when the first alien ships appeared. Not Hana and Yoon's ships, but something far more dangerous. Massive metallic structures that blocked out the Seattle sunlight, casting long shadows across the city. Michael Rodriguez was the first to recognize the true threat. His government tracking systems, which had been hunting the sisters, now seemed pathetically inadequate against this massive invasion force. David Park gathered Hana and Yoon in a secure government research facility. The sisters knew this moment would come. Their past had finally caught up with them. "These are the Krell," Hana explained, pointing at the holographic displays showing the approaching ships. "They destroyed our homeworld. They hunt civilizations for resources." The military commanders looked stunned. Here were 2 aliens who had been living quietly among humans, now offering to help defend the planet. Yoon's hands moved across complex computer systems, her alien technology interfacing with human defense networks. She was translating, calculating, predicting the Krell's attack patterns with impossible precision. They will target major population centers, she said calmly. Seattle, New York, Tokyo, London. David watched in amazement as the sisters transformed, from hidden refugees to potential planetary defenders. Their technology, which they had carefully concealed for years, now became humanity's best hope. Military systems began to change. Defensive protocols that seemed impossible moments ago became reality. Hana's understanding of Krell battle strategies allowed human forces to anticipate attacks before they happened. The first wave of Krell ships approached. Massive energy weapons prepared to unleash destruction. But something was different this time. Yoon had prepared a technological countermeasure, a complex signal that would disrupt the Krell's primary communication networks. David had helped her adapt human technology to create something entirely new. When the attack came, it was nothing like anyone expected. The Krell ships suddenly lost coordination. Their massive weapon systems flickered and died. Communication between ships became impossible. It was as if an invisible hand had reached out and simply switched them off. Hana stood in the command center, her body now showing traces of her true alien form. Silvery skin, enhanced muscular structure, eyes that could see electromagnetic spectrum humans couldn't comprehend. They hunt civilizations, she told the stunned military commanders. But they've never encountered a defense like this. The battle lasted less than 3 hours. Where conventional human weapons would have taken months or years, the sisters' technology created an immediate solution. Michael Rodriguez, who had once tracked them as potential threats, now watched in amazement. These weren't invaders. They were protectors. David Park documented everything: the technological breakthrough, the unexpected heroes, the moment when 2 refugee aliens became humanity's saviors. As the last Krell ships fell from the sky, something remarkable happened. The sisters weren't seen as aliens anymore. They were defenders, protectors. We found our home, Yoon whispered to Hana. Not their original world, but Earth. The government offered them everything: citizenship, research positions, protection. But Hana and Yoon wanted something simpler: a chance to live, a chance to belong. Mr. Kim's repair shop remained their anchor, a place of simple work, of quiet existence, a reminder of how their journey began. The world would never be the same. Humanity now understood it wasn't alone in the universe, and its first true allies had been living quietly among them, working normal jobs, waiting for the moment they would be needed. Redemption came in the most unexpected way. 2 alien sisters, who came to Earth with nothing, had saved an entire planet. Their new home welcomed them, not as aliens but as protectors, as family.